All right, so today we're going to talk about reading in a foreign language and why it's important and how to read, and even some things that you could consider reading when you're working on learning a foreign language. So, a lot of questions that people have is why should I read in a foreign language if I don't understand it yet? Well, first of all, you read in order to understand. So try not to worry so much about if you don't understand everything. Just as they say, trust the process and read in order to understand with the confidence and the faith that eventually it's going to work out. The other reason why we read is we familiarize ourselves with the sound and the look of the words. So we're getting exposed to those. Those are entering into our subconscious mind, and gradually we work on that in our subconscious mind, and eventually they start coming up to the surface. The other thing is we don't think in individual words. So this gives you the opportunity to see the language as a whole in context. And as you see it in context, it's going to help you to think in complete ideas when you start speaking the language a little bit better. And another thing is you need to be exposed to the language. So the more time that you spend with the language, the more you're going to learn it, and the more that you're going to acquire it and absorb it and pick it up over time. So a lot of times when people understand that part, they start asking, well, then how should I read? And the first thing you should do is to uh, almost ignore all of your teachers in your other English classes or other literature courses you've taken up to this point. So you should read out loud and make sure that you read at a moderate pace. Don't read too slowly, don't read too fast. And this last one might surprise you a little bit. Don't use a dictionary. And the reason why you shouldn't use a dictionary, let's talk about that. The reason why you shouldn't use a dictionary is because it prevents us from seeing and hearing the language as a whole. We stop every time to look up a word that we don't know, and now we don't see complete ideas. We only see the language one word at a time, so it really slows us down and it prevents us from absorbing the language. The other thing, and just a very practical one, is that we get very tired and bored when we are constantly picking up the dictionary. And remember, you pick up the dictionary in order to figure out what the word means. And a lot of times we don't remember the new word, we just got a translation. So it gets very boring and it doesn't stick with us for very long. So some things that you should read are things that are read in many different languages. So, the Bible is a really good one to read. You can read it in your native language and then you can see it in another language and it makes sense to you. So, try reading the Bible. Uh, Also, you can read a book like The Little Prince that's been translated into a lot of languages, and a lot of people find it to be pretty approachable. Another thing you can read is children's stories. Those are always really good for reading. They're not very long. They tend to be stories that we know, and sometimes the language is a little bit more accessible for us. And finally, I would say read anything. A lot of times people say, well, that's not on my level. That's too hard for me. You're just absorbing here. Just try to absorb and have contact with the language. And I think anything that you get your hands on is going to help you.